Well, obviously, good morning, everybody, and to our panel, thank you so much for being here. We begin our meetings with an opening prayer. So, Randy Nix, who serves on both committees, will do that number 25.
Okay. Let's bow, please. Father, we come to thank you today for the blessings of life and for allowing us to be here. Lord, for a more quiet day, we just pray that you would bless all that we do here as we consider our natural resources and the things that you have given us and the things of this earth, that we would be good stewards. Bless all that we do and say, Lord, that it would be pleasing to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Well, I'll tell you what we're doing. All right, y'all, we're feeling our way here because we want to get to our panel, but your number 21. Okay, if you'll do.
I want to just welcome everybody here, and I just want to thank the Natural Resource, which I'm a member of also, for having the Education Committee here. And we're glad y'all can get some education today, and we're glad y'all can be here with us. And we're thrilled to have our panel. And what we hope to accomplish today, everyone, several things, but one of the things we want to accomplish, you remember we've been talking about standards and curriculum and schools, what they do, and how local involvement with your communities and parents. And Lynn had worked with this group, I think several years ago, y'all have talked about this. And today is a good example of how you take standards that are the what we teach, and then how you allow local communities to come together, businesses, communities, and whatever, and to develop a curriculum, which is local involvement, and you develop something that's locally. And we hope this is something that we can hear today that deals with the natural resources in our state and our beautiful waterways and everything, and then we can just disseminate this to other areas. And hopefully you'll go back and tell your districts, look, we know where we can find something that we can disseminate throughout the state. So we're real proud to have them here. Is that basically what you told me to say? Did I do it right? All right.
Thank you. And then for y'all, so you can know who's actually here, we're going to start down there with Dan. Just tell me your number so I can track. And just introduce yourself, what committee and where you're from.
29.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm a member of the Natural Resources Committee. I represent House District 28, which is up in the very northeast corner of Georgia. Banks County, Stevens County, and Habersham County.
Thank you.
Valerie Clark, House District 101, which is part of Gwinnett. And I'm on Education and Ed Appropriations also with Margaret and several of us.
I'm Margaret Kaiser. I represent House District 59, serve on the Education Committee, all sort of the in-town neighborhoods of Atlanta and East Point, Georgia.
And I'm Jan Tankersley from House District 160, and that's Statesboro and North Bryan.
And I'm Randy Nix. I'm on the Natural Resources, Environment, and Education Committee, and I'm District 69, which is parts of Troop, Heard, and Carroll counties.
And I'm Bob Ralphs, House District 144, which is based in the middle of the state.
I'm Buddy Harden. I represent House District 148, which is Crisp County, Wilcox County, Pulaski County, and Houston County. And I'm on the Natural Resources Committee.
Bruce Coleman, as I said earlier, and I represent District 97, which is in Gwinnett County, Swanee, Duluth, and Sugar Hill and Beaufort. And I want to say I started my teaching 51 years ago in your school, at Elm Street School, as you said, one of your schools. I'm real proud of that.
I'm Lynn Smith from. Yeah. They didn't have good water. I'm Lynn Smith. I'm from Coweta County. I serve most of the city of Newnan, western part of Coweta, and one precinct, Whitesburg, in Carroll County. And welcome, y'all. Thrilled you're here.
Howard Maxwell, Paulding County, western part of Paulding County, District 17. I'm on Education and Education Appropriations.
18. I'm Willie Townton. I serve District 147, which is Houston County, Warner Robins, and Centerville, Georgia.
Good morning. I'm Lynn Riley from House District 50, which is Johns Creek in North Fulton County, and I serve on Natural Resources and Environment.
I'm Pat Gardner, House District 57. I represent the heart and soul of Atlanta, where there are many urban parks, and we work hard to keep Atlanta beautiful. So thank you for being here.
Chad Nimmer, Southeast District 178, Pierce, Brantley, Wayne, and Appleton counties, and I serve on Natural Resource and Environment Committee.
Tom McCall, and I'm from Elberton, Georgia, and my district is 5 counties from Athens to Augusta down the Savannah River.
I'm Carol Fullerton, and I represent Dougherty County in the southwest Georgia, and most of the county, and Albany is our main city.
Now we're going to get to why we're here today and to our panel. I hope we've relaxed you enough to realize this is going to be very informal, and you've heard us. We might fight hard on issues and debates, but yet it is a camaraderie that we establish up here. So as a group, we're pleased you're here. I will do the introductions now. So this is Donald White. He's the Science Content Specialist for the Coweta County School System. And then Jay Bourne is with Coweta Water Authority, and they're one of the partners in this group. Stephanie, I have to say Stephanie Ray Butcher, because I met Stephanie first when she was a new extension agent in our county, full of energy. And we met at the Redneck and had a conversation about some places I thought were important issues to deal with, and we talked about water. She has since become Stephanie Ray Butcher and has 2 children, one of which is a 2-month-old baby, and up here today, so I really appreciate that. And then Carol Duffy is here, and Carol is with Keep Noonan Beautiful. And then Jody Jakowitz is here from Yamaha, and she's one of our community business sponsors. Donald's family is here. If y'all will just wave to us for a minute, so say hey. And then I also want to take a moment and point out to you, Russ Pennington, EPD had a role in this as well and partnered on several different initiatives. And then Julian Macy in the back is head of the Ag and Natural Resource Program Development Coordination for our region. And thank you for all your other faithful followers of these committees who are here today. A couple of housekeeping. There is a Rural Caucus meeting after this, which has lunch, and then also lunch is provided for our committee members who are not members of the Rural Caucus, and we'll have that outside, and can bring these sandwiches back in here and maybe have a more informal discussion with you. Sometimes you can get better feedback when you do it that way as well. So in the very beginning, I'm going to first go to Stephanie. I gave you our relationship, but Stephanie, just take a minute. We're just going to walk our way through this, and then we'll go to questions, y'all, and I'll let Brooks do it because he would have been quiet still long enough. So can't take it. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I really want to thank everybody for having us here today, first off. When I first met Representative Smith, it was in December of 2007. We did meet at the Redneck Gourmet in downtown Noonan. Like she said, I appreciated her taking the time to do that because I was a relatively new extension agent. I had just become coordinator over the Ag and Natural Resource and 4-H programs there in Coweta County. And our issue that I had been working on was water quality and water quantity in Coweta. And I wanted to talk with Representative Smith about some different things that she saw as important for our community and things that I really needed to be focusing on. So after that initial meeting, it worked out very well. The next couple of weeks, I got a call from the Coweta Water Authority. At that time, the general manager was Ellis Cadenhead. And he asked me to come sit in on a roundtable discussion. He was pulling different partners together to discuss water conservation in Coweta County. So when we sat down at the table and we found out what everybody was interested in and all the things that we needed to be looking at, I basically answered some of the questions that they were asking as far as where we needed to target some of our education, in that we were already doing a lot of the programs that they were mentioning might be important. And Ellis at the time said, well, what can we do to bolster that or to help out? And I said, basically, we needed more resources. And so when the Coweta Water Authority agreed to assist us with some programs that we were still working on, we also wanted to come up with something that would be a little more far-reaching. And so with the Coweta County School System on board and at the table that day, we discussed the fact that 4-H was an integral part of the programs that we did, because we felt like by teaching the youth were teaching the adults. And so we decided that that was the area that we wanted to target, was the youth. And so with the Coweta County School System there at the table that day, they said, well, we're looking for something that would fit very well into our program in the 4th grade. And so as a committee at that point, a very informal committee, a roundtable discussion, we decided to focus on 4th grade education. And we, from that point, took it to developing a 4th grade curriculum. That way, the children were targeted in the 4th grade, and they got the water conservation information they needed there. In the 5th grade, we followed it up with 4-H programs, and in the 6th grade, the Georgia Performance Standards followed it up with at that point as well. So they got hit in the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th grade with water conservation programs. So from there, we became the Coweta Water Education Team, and there are several representatives that of that team here today that Representative Smith has already introduced. So I'm going to go to Donald, and Donald has put together a presentation for y'all today with some of the programs that we've done, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about that in detail.
Yes, Donald's getting ready over there. You can sit there on our side too. But he is Coweta County School Science Content Specialist.
All right, thank you. Thank you all for being here today. I'm going to take you through this fairly quickly. What I'm most impressed about with our program is the partnerships that have developed between the school system and the local industry. And this partnership has served both the school system and industry in ways that we didn't intend, but have become kind of a shining star for work like this. And I get phone calls from all over the state wanting to know how to replicate what we're doing. And I'm happy to share that information with anyone who wants to know. The original partners were Coweta Water, Noonan Utilities, the Cooperative Extension Agency from University of Georgia, and the Coweta County School System. We later added a lot of business partners, Cargill, Keep Noonan Beautiful, the Shenandoah GYSTC, Georgia Youth Science and Technology Center, and Yamaha are some of our major contributors. As we talked about, we got started in 2007 with the goals of increasing the amount of water conserved in Coweta County, improve water conservation practices in Coweta County, and to increase public understanding of the importance of conservation. And we all know that if we can work with the children work with the parents. I have $100 worth of new smoke detectors in my house because my daughter came home and was talking about smoke detectors. So she was a great motivation for me, and has been the children in our community are a great motivation for our parents. Our initial focus was a 4th grade water curriculum. It's 5 days of classroom activities aligned to the Georgia Performance Standards. The activities were designed by Coweta master teachers. There were resources provided by the water education team to complete the activities. Some of those included like a flow meter and some other additional resources to get it done. We provided teacher training, which we know is extremely important if we want effective implementation of a program like this. It was held at the water plant. We provided them a small stipend and offered them some door prizes to get them there. We also sponsored a water conservation contest where the winning 4th grade got a field trip to the water plant, and we'll talk a little bit about that. You can see some of the images here, the master teachers who put it together. There's Carol Duffy from Keep Noonan Beautiful with her water system model. There's me talking to the teachers, training them on the effective implementation of the curriculum, and then here we are at the B.T. Brown water plant, the teachers getting hands-on tour of the plant. Some additional successes, we used September and March to compare school water usage, and we used those 2 months because they had the same number of in-school days. And what we found was an average decrease of 35 gallons per student. The winning school averaged 128 gallons per student, with a total of 450,000 gallons conserved in the first year alone. Our 4-year water conservation total for the school system was 1.6 million gallons of water conserved for the school system. So we have a direct, measurable impact of our curriculum. Some additions that we made to the program: in 2010, we added a middle and high school program where we partnered with the Adopt a Stream program and the EPD. We provided them with GPS-aligned lessons, which are part of the Adopt a Stream program. And then Yamaha graciously provided the testing kits, the materials for the teachers to be able to complete the activities and to establish. We have 6 active testing sites with the Adopt a Stream program in Coweta County now as a result of this program. And here's some more pictures of the folks in action. The smiles on the teachers' faces while they're armpit deep in the reservoir, I reminded them that they should see the same smiles from their students who are doing the same activities. And that was really took them to heart with that. We also provided them the door prizes. Here's an iPad, and it's amazing what you can get teachers to do for an iPad for their classroom. Some program spinoffs. One of the programs that I manage for Coweta County School System is our Coweta STEM Internship program, which we established in 2011. It involves high school seniors, and we place them in local industry locations throughout Coweta County doing high-level hands-on work. They actually work as interns with the companies where we place them. Coweta Water, Yamaha are 2 of our biggest supporters with this program. They were the ones who started off initially accepting our interns, and it was because of the relationship that we developed as a result of the Coweta Water Education Team. We also have some other partners who have come on board. Some of these you may recognize. We add more partners every day. We have a total of 40 interns currently out in the field in Coweta County doing the jobs that they say that they want to do when they grow up. My favorite story is one of our students whose father was a civil engineer, grandfather was a civil engineer. All of them graduated from Georgia Tech, and the son told me, he said, I'm going to go to Georgia Tech and be a civil engineer. So we put him to work with Union Utilities. He moved sewer lines for a semester. At the end of the semester, he told me he didn't want to be a civil engineer anymore. But we saved him 2.5 years at Georgia Tech to figure that out. He's now studying environmental engineering and is being very successful at that. And that is all from the relationship that he developed with the professionals in Coweta County as a result of this program. We also developed the Coweta STEM Consortium. It's a partnership between the business community and the school system. It provides networking opportunities for educators and businesses. And we provide the STEM Consortium provides curriculum guidance and real-world problems for our teachers to solve. What I found as an educator is that most of our teachers got into education to work with children. They didn't get into education because they got to work in industry. So most of our teachers have very little experience with anything outside of the classroom. And that is a deficit for us. And that's the Coweta STEM Consortium is working towards decreasing that deficit and providing teachers the opportunity to get out there and experience the real world. Coweta Water, Yamaha have been vital in that effort. We were nominated, the Coweta STEM Consortium was nominated for a Technology Association of Georgia STEM Education Award for corporate outreach for our efforts. And you can see our logo there. Some more spinoffs. This past October, as part of National Manufacturing Day, we partnered with the Coweta Development Authority, the Chamber of Commerce, and our teachers got to tour Grenzebach. We had a teacher from every school in our school system who got to go and see the type of manufacturing that goes on in Coweta County. What we found from our students is they perceive that they have to leave Coweta County in order to have a high-tech, high-paying job. And what we're trying to show them with programs like this is that there are great opportunities for them locally. So we're investing in the workforce in Coweta County. We met with Coweta business leaders. The teachers got to have conversations with them about the type of things that are needed for employment in Coweta County, the type of jobs that are available. The teachers were amazed at the machinists who work at Grenzebach and the type of work that they do. Also, too, they also got to stop in with the water treatment part of Grenzebach, which is it's a heavy-duty water treatment part because of the processes that they use. And so we're going back into water conservation and maintaining the water as it leaves the plant there. We're in 2014, we're getting ready next month, we're going to have the high school guidance counselors attend the same type of program, so that they have a better perspective of what it takes to be employed in Georgia and in Coweta County. Some future projects that we're working on, and these are all spinoffs of the Coweta Water Education Team, the Coweta Student Research Institute. We were approached as a result of our STEM internship program by local businesses, including Coweta Water, Union Utilities, and Grenzebach. They want to use our students to help solve their problems, that they don't have the manpower to to be able to solve. So our students will work on specific research questions that the local businesses may have in order to help them solve the problem. So they're getting, our students get the credit and the experience, and the businesses get the benefit of our students' energy and expertise. We're also working on a countywide STEM project, which is focused on conservation, biotechnology, and agriculture. It involves each school in the district and focuses on water as the central theme throughout all of them. So every school in Coweta County will be involved in this particular STEM project, where we'll have our students who are part of the Student Research Institute actually leading the program for us. Some secrets to the success of our program, and this is where when people ask me how to replicate what we're doing, this is what I share with them, that the program is mutually beneficial. Coweta Water and the folks from the Extension Office came to us and said, you know, we want to help. And we said, well, we want you to help us. But we said, we flipped the script. We said, what can we do for you? And they said, well, we need help with meeting EPD requirements for education. We need help with developing a workforce. And we said, well, we can do that for you if you're willing to help us design it. And that's what we've done. The educational resources that are developed by the Coweta Water Education team replace rather than add to curriculum options. Our teachers feel like that they're paddling as fast as they can, so anything additional that we give them, they're less likely to implement. What we did is we gave them activities that can replace what they were already doing in the classroom, that were community focused, that were real world, and what we saw is an increased engagement from our teachers and increased engagement from our students. There was a strong commitment to the community. In working with my students, I was amazed when they had the opportunity to work towards community goals at the level of involvement that they would do. They would give up their Saturdays, they would give up their evenings to help their community because they could see the positive benefits of that. And it was the emphasis on meaningful experience. When I talk to people about STEM across the state, I'd rather replace the M, that means mathematics, with meaning. Because what STEM is to me, it's meaning. You're talking about solving the grand challenges in engineering and health. You're talking about showing the students why they need to learn the things that they need to learn when we put them in the classroom. Our STEM interns all come back and say, you know, I know now why I needed to study chemistry. I know now why I needed to study genetics and those things in the high school classrooms where, you know, you have a hard time convincing them that they need to learn those things. If you would like a copy of this presentation, I have plenty of those with me. You can also see our website and download the presentation here, and I've provided all of our contact information should you need that for any future questions. So thank you for listening to my presentation. I'll turn it back over.
Thank you. That was excellent. And I want to go through right now with the rest of our panel. And if you will briefly introduce yourself, and then I'm going to switch chairs with the education chairman, and he'll handle the education aspect of the programs. But let's go first to Carol Duffy and explain the Keep Noonan Beautiful part of it.
I'll repeat what Stephanie said. Thank you all for having us. But I'm Carol Duffy, and I'm actually director of a program called Keep Noonan Beautiful. I'm a Keep America Beautiful affiliate. Our program falls underneath the city of Noonan. And when I started, as we all are on a shoestring budget, I wanted to get the word out about keeping Noonan beautiful, part of which was water conservation and water pollution. And one way, with a background in education, I felt would be the best way to achieve that was to get into these schools targeting the younger children, because as several of us have said, they go home and teach the adults. And I reached out to Dr. Barker and Donald White and said, hey, I have this great model of a watershed, and it's interactive, and I'm kind of a mover and a shaker, and why don't you let me come into some of these classes and do this presentation? And they gave me a shot, and it worked. And so now, upon request, any of the schools in Coweta County will contact me and say, hey, could you come in and do this? Now, again, it doesn't, it's not anything added. I come in, the teacher's in the classroom, I do this anywhere from 30-minute to hour-long presentation. It's interactive. The kids are engaged. They learn a whole lot. They have a lot of questions. And it gives the teacher time to sit back and maybe do a little bit of paperwork that they haven't had an opportunity to do. And it's worked very well. It's helped. It's increased my visibility, my program's visibility, which I needed, and awareness in the community. And I have high school students that come and help me with cleanups. I mean, I could go on, but it's been a great boon to my program, and I feel it's been good for the schools as well. So that's where I come in.
Thank you, Carol. And then Jody, everybody's always interested in how in the world does a corporate, especially a big corporate entity like Yamaha, get engaged with our schools?
Well, I have to, so I'll just move it a little bit more. Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. Okay, thanks. But first, I really have to thank Donald and Stephanie. Really, created a really wonderful structure for us because, as everyone else, we have sort of limited resources and funding. But we have something called our 33% program. But we take all of our money from our recycling program and utilize it for community programs. The problem is, it's like what's most important to the community. And the nice thing is, Donald and Stephanie just send an email and say what's needed. So it was actually really easy and nice. For example, he used the example of the water test kits. They said we have these great groups that just got educated, and we got to be part of the Adopt a Stream education. A couple of our employees got to attend as well with the teachers and meet the teachers in the community. And then we bought the test kits for each of the middle schools and high schools. And that's all we had to do. And then all of a sudden you've got these students that are taking the water samples and doing all these wonderful things for the community. And then we're able to take those pictures and show it to our employees. So it's just a really wonderful, sustainable program when we look at that. And it's not a lot of money. And we're actually taking it, again, from our environmental programs, because for Yamaha it's really important to, from an environmental program side, think globally and act locally, and it really, having this sort of partnership really allows us to do that. And it's really not a lot of time on my part, and the time that's spent is actually really rewarding. I was hoping I would be able to see some of the little clips that the fourth graders did for water education. That's one of the things that I just personally find fun, is that Donald will say, okay, at 2 o'clock today we're actually looking at some video clips that the fourth graders put together on water conservation. And just personally for me to be able to sit in on that as a different thing to do during my day, it's a lot of fun. So I hope you get a chance to take a look at some of those, because it's really amazing what the fourth graders come up with after they've gone through their educational programs. It's really rewarding for us as well.
Thank you. And then Jay, if you will kind of close our team comment, and then with the Coweta Water Authority, it's kind of your mainstay support to this program. And Jay had a predecessor who was engaged in it, but they're equally engaged in sustaining what's going on. So Jay, if you'll just explain y'all's role.
And again, I want to thank everyone for having us here today. I was excited as Donald's little girl Emily, because this is the first time I've ever been here too, so I was really excited to come here. But really, I was just kidding the group that we just really provided a place to meet. I feel like, but we were very excited to be engaged with this group, because I think it was a large collaborative effort. We worked with the chamber, of course, and the development authority, but it's really good to get involved with the schools and to see how your efforts can really apply to the elementary school. And I have a girl that's in 4th grade at Elm Street School, and my mom also taught at Elm Street School, and I attended there too. But it's good to even go to the school and see, the efforts there. I mean, you can go in the bathroom and they'll say, turn the water off while you're washing. I mean, it's visible efforts that have really worked toward these achievements that they have obtained. But to see them when they tour the plants and everything, the water plant and everything, is just real exciting, because that they go home and take that back to their parents. And we're big into recycling also, but conservation is very important. Of course, we're in the business. All our revenues come from selling water, but we also want to focus on conservation because it is a valuable resource. But we were excited to become a part of this group, and which involves the whole community really. And it's been a very rewarding experience. So.
Thank you very much. And then before I switch my seats with Chairman Brooks, we have two more legislators who came in, and one is Representative Abel Mabel. I think your button is number 10. Just introduce yourself and explain where you're from.
I'm 11.
I think 11, okay.
I'm Abel Mabel Thomas, and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County. And I'm very interested in what you're saying, and I have visited Coweta County and found out about another program you have where your students go from high school to college.
CEC.
So I do a little bit about it. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Representative Debbie Buckner, and 13, okay.
I'm Debbie Buckner, and I represent Harris, Talbot, Meriwether, and Muskogee counties. I'm in between the Flint and the Chattahoochee. So some of the river programs I think that you've talked about, we're doing some of that at Oxbow Meadows and having kids learn how to test the water, and they really have had a great time learning about our river. So thank you for what you're doing and the resources you provide.
Thank you. And then I neglected to mention Edens Davis with the Governor's Policy Group is here today as well. So I really appreciate all the participation. I think the educational component is what we're all interested in now and how it got tied together. So I'm going to switch seats. Okay. All right. And then,
we're going to take questions too. I want you to ask some questions. But let me say one thing that I think is so important that we've been stressing. And it's hard for us to understand, those that are not in education, but the difference between standards, the what, and the how, and how you do it, and the community involvement. And there's a big emphasis, and I want to commend right over here one of our members on both the education and the natural resources, Representative Nix. I don't know if y'all are aware. I mean, he really pushed this, 3 years ago now, Randy, this 186, that the career pathways and the fact that everybody's not going to be, but the awareness and involving businesses, and took us out to Kia, and we saw how important it is for everybody, the total community is getting involved. But one thing I noticed in there when you were talking, teachers complained to us as we traveled this state over about so much to do, not just keep adding. I love what you said. We're not adding any more. These are replacing, and I think that's so critical, replacing standards. We have a former principal here, and we have people who worked with school system superintendents, but that was important. Tell me, what did you do? Is that just a local decision? Did you just take the state standards and just replace them with your local standards? Is that what you did? Tell us how you did that. That's critical. And this is part of what we was talking about, Common Core people.
Yeah, what we did is we saw the standards. We knew the standards were there. We just develop the activities that match those standards, but we're focused on water, to allow the students to be able to interact with something that is community-based. So it was all the activities were aligned. We didn't actually replace the standards. We just made sure that the activities matched the standards and allowed the teachers to meet multiple standards at the same time. Some of the activities include math, English language arts, social studies, those kind of standards, and the activities allow the teachers to kind of multitask, which made them much more attractive to the teachers, and that's where we got the buy-in.
Would you do me a favor? Would you tell people what, now, because I don't want to, everybody may know, but what STEM education means? Because we use these educational jargonese and acronyms. Sometimes we don't understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, STEM education. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math.
Science, technology, and that's very important to know that. And that's where we're moving and integrating those. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and you actually see lots of folks call it STEAM. You include agriculture or the arts. Basically, for me, it's good teaching. It's teaching that's grounded in the real world, grounded in real experiences that the students are going to have when they leave the classroom. I taught high school chemistry for 10 years, and I can't think of a class that was less connected to the real world than my high school chemistry class because of the fact that I didn't have any experience outside of it. So now when I talk about chemistry, I bring in experts from the Water Authority. I bring in experts from the Extension Office, from Yamaha, who do the work day in and day out, and that elevates the meaning for the students. They actually know some of the people that come into the classroom and say, "Oh, I know what he does. I know where he works. Maybe I should look into working for Yamaha or working for Coweta Water." So those are the type of things that have really accelerated the program for us.
Tom, Representative McCall, I think one thing we did this year in the budget, that extended day, for the agriculture. I'm just thankful we got to have Terry because he loves that to help us out. But people don't realize what you just said, how important. The largest, what is it, Representative McCall, the largest industry we have in the state is the blueberry, I think, industry right now. Is that? Ag product, and so that's important. One thing you do also, and I hope you still do this, you may have stopped because of the budget cuts, but y'all also had a contract with your colleges where some of your colleges, I think it was Coweta County, that the student teachers came in and worked with their last year. Instead of spending it in the classroom, they spent the year in the schools, had their classes there, and they were guaranteed jobs.
Yes, sir.
Guaranteed. You're still doing that.
We still do that program. We have master teachers who've been identified at the particular schools, and they are assigned to 2 intern teachers who spend the entire year, their senior year of college, in the classroom under the tutelage of those master teachers. We currently have 6 of those in place at 3 different schools. And we found just great success with that program. Those teachers, we've only lost 1 of the interns in the 4 years now that we've been doing that program.
And what's your superintendent's name?
Steve Barker.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it was a form. Maybe this one said the beauty there. You see them before, you know what you're getting. You can you don't have to hire them. You don't get a hold of it. You get good ones. I'm going to take a couple of questions, then we'll move on. If you would help me out.
25. Just identify yourself.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm Randy Nix, and he had mentioned earlier the career pathways legislation. I really see a lot of this that I really, really like that you're doing. The community involvement, I think, is critical. And one of the things that you mentioned was the teachers going and working and getting hands-on experience. And even maybe more critical than that is the guidance counselors that you mentioned that are going to be doing it. Yeah. Because as we begin to, most of the guidance counselors came, as you said, through an education background. So if you've got a 23-year-old guidance counselor who's trying to tell somebody about a manufacturing environment, it's very difficult. But I think that is super. We had talked a number of times about that and how to get them more engaged. So I think the community involvement in that is just really, really critical for where we need to go for the jobs of the future. I was 27 years old before I figured out why we took geometry. I was flying F4s, and I realized that all those things really worked, in a four-dimensional world. I never realized that things really intersected if you did them right, and if you did them wrong, they didn't intersect. But I think that's really critical, and I applaud y'all for doing that and for having the business component to it, too. I think that is just really a model we need to be following all over, and I appreciate what y'all are doing.
Thank you. Next question.
It's number 16.
16. Hey, yes.
I'm Representative Pat Gardner, and I used to be a teacher, and I just think what a gift you've given to teachers by providing them some real hands-on in the community experience. I taught Spanish, and I know when I could take kids to Spain or Mexico, they came back wanting to learn Spanish. And so it must be a great gift to the teachers to have this experience that helps them motivate kids. For me, it's less about curriculum and more about motivation, and it sounds like you really got that message. So is any of your program, do you give it to the Georgia Public Broadcasting? I know they have a wonderful resource center for teaching modules. Have you used it, or does that work for you, or have you given them what you're doing?
We haven't. We shared all of our lessons with the Metro North Water Planning District and their I'm In campaign. Every Drop Counts, I believe, is the name of their website, and the activities are there, available for anyone to download. So we have shared that. We share that. I have a link that I send to people when they ask, they want to see the activities. We work constantly to update the activities, which I think is important. Because as we get new information, new resources, bring on new partners, we bring in new experts, and that has really been beneficial. So we do try to share this as much as we can, and would welcome anyone who asked that we can share with them.
I hope you'll check in with GPB, because they claim to have 60,000 teachers a year checking in.
You know, one thing we're doing, Representative Gardner, if you'll notice, there was a grant section in this year's budget that we hadn't gotten before, which we're proud of, that we're going to be using for places like this, and I want to alert you to that will take programs like this, and like you say, working with Georgia Public Broadcasting to disseminate this to other systems, especially your student teaching program. To me, has been the highlight of every university should be doing what you're doing, and I agree with you. That needs to be shared. Next, we have
number two.
Number two. Hey, yes, Representative McCall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm a little slow on the uptake, and sometimes when Chairman Coleman caught me with the blueberries, we all know chickens are the biggest ag product.
I know
what he's talking about is blueberries have overtaken peaches.
Peaches, that's right.
Which we are the peach state. I don't know if we're going to ever become a blueberry state, but that's what he's talking about, is blueberries. Yeah. There's one thing I saw on your presentation, that you conserve 450,000 gallons of water. Well, that's a big number, but that's all anybody knows. So I did a little figuring, and those of us that deal with ag think of acre inches. So what you can tell folks to get it in a comparison is that that's 16.5 inches of water on a football field. So if you cover a whole football field, it'll be this much water is how much y'all save. To get it I have to get it in that kind of perspective for me to understand what 450,000 milk jugs look like. So,
hey, that always puts it in proper perspective. I appreciate that. That's good. I understand that. All right, next
Number
is 29.
I'm Dan Gasway. My wife is a fourth grade teacher, so the thing I was thinking about, we have a new system in the state where units like this can be published through the LDS system, and I was wondering if y'all had been approached or possibly interfaced with the Department of Education about how to put these units, because I know right now the LDS system underneath each standard is populated with some not so useful units, and it sounds like to me y'all have a fantastic unit, and I'd like to know if there was a way we could encourage this to be disseminated through that system. Are you familiar with the LDS system?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
sir. I use it every day.
Yeah,
So-
I thought you might. That's why I'm thinking. Yeah, I would love to see those units on the LDS system in Habersham County.
Yeah, we will definitely reach out to the.
Will you let me know? I'll give you a card after this.
Yes, sir.
See, you're already getting expanded. That's what we wanted today. All right, next is 28. Representative Clark.
And I'm Valerie Clark, and I was the school principal of middle and high school. And in our gifted curricula, we do a unit on water conservation. They test water. We do it in high school in biology. They also do it in governor's honors, but not to the degree that you have done, which brings in people who are masters at their trade and so interesting to the students. So my comment is just thank you so much, because I'm one of the signers of Mr. Nix's bill and is with Dr. Coleman, and it's so important to get our students involved right from the beginning and careers. So thank you so much.
Number 27.
Thank you. I just wanted to say how much I appreciate your sharing this with us. My kids actually attended 2 charter schools that adopted a constructivist curriculum, and very hands-on, even to the extent now that they're in a very constructivist curriculum type of high school, and I have a son raising goats as a result, because we just really, embrace that hands-on experience. But I wondered if I know that I have probably a lot of Leadership Georgia alumni in the room, and I wondered if you would be open to me submitting Coweta County and what you're doing to them as one of, we do some of the neatest things in Leadership Georgia, but this seems ideal for them to have as one of their places to go in the coming years.
We'd welcome that.
Okay, so you'll leave your contact information with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Those of you in our panel watching, so there's another time event planned, and so some of our legislators are having to leave. But are there any more questions? Did I miss a question anywhere? Okay. The one point that was made early on in the very beginning, it was really in the very beginning, the concern was that the teachers might not show up for that first workshop because it was not, who can tell me what happened there? Because the first big challenge was to engage the teachers, and it was going to be during summertime. And how did you get the teachers to get involved? Because it would have required them to give up their personal time.
Right. I think, first of all, what I want to reiterate with that is that it took a partnership to do that, because through Extension we do programs, but it's so much, it's just fantastic when we have a partner like Coweta County School System that can actually get the teachers there, because we could help put together the program but without Donald, who actually was able to promote it and get the teachers there, we wouldn't have been able to do that. Donald was able to, and I can let him speak to how he got the teachers there, but we also had incentives, and we weren't able to offer the incentives without the funding that we got from the corporate sponsors and partnerships that we have. So, and I wanted to say another piece about this whole partnership is because we each, with the groups that we work with and the companies that we work with and the extension office and school system and Yamaha and Cargill and all this, we have different boxes that we have to check. We always talk about the boxes that we have to check, things that we have to meet, standards that we have to meet. And it works so great as far as this partnership because nobody really cares who's in front, because nobody is ever in front. It's that everybody is so happy that everybody's come together and is able to provide this for our community. So you never have anybody trying to get credit for something. Everybody is a part of the team. And I think that's one of the reasons why it works so well. But I let Donald speak to it.
You know, let me say, what you're saying, and that's what we think is so important when we talk about local control. That, you know, this year it's been this whole thing about federal control, local control, and this state is moving toward local control. We believe in flexibility. That's what we heard when we travel. Howard, you were with, we travel the state, and I know my education committee, we travel the state of over 2,000 miles. So that's what they said. Give us the freedom, the flexibility, the local control. And we heard businesses, businesses everywhere. They're willing to come in if it's a local decision. And I think you're right. And that's where we're not tapping into, I think, enough. And I just commend Coweta because y'all have tapped into what, because the businesses, the resources are there. And let's face it, the state's not going to provide enough money, and the local, and we've got to help each other. And remember, money is an acceptable way to say I love you, and you want to love these people to death. And so that's important to get these things started. I think you're right. We have anyone else want to say anything?
I think Don can tell us a little
Don,
bit how they.
Well, motivating the teachers was actually pretty easy. When I told them that they were gonna get something that was new, that was exciting, that was engaging. Our teachers are consummate professionals. They're constantly looking for ways to improve their craft. So this was just an opportunity for them that they recognized the importance of, that it was going to connect with community, it was going to connect with businesses. They realized that, and that's why they came running. We actually turn people away every summer from our summer programs because of the high level of interest that we have. And I'd like to think it doesn't have anything to do with the iPad that we offer as a door prize or the steak lunch that Cargill provides for us. But those kind of things are just enticements. The teachers will tell you that they're there for their children and they're there for their students, trying to make everything better for all of us. So that's why they're there.
Yeah.
But I think you call that leadership. Is what you
Hey, say that again. That's it. That's leadership. That's another thing we found. And how long have you been principal there?
I've been in my position as science content specialist for the past 5 years.
You're what now? Science specialist?
Science specialist.
You're the leader. See, that's what we found, that teachers said they leave situations and they go to places because of the leadership. The principal is the key. The leadership, you're the science coordinator there for the county. That's critical. I think you're right, Rand. That's what it's all about. Anybody else have a question?
Number 12.
Number 12.
I wanted to talk to you, Carol, and has this spread with the Keep Noonan Beautiful, but with the statewide and national organization? Have you been able to work with other folks in the state of Georgia, like Judy Bowles from Albany, who does ours?
She's even though I'm in Noonan, I joined the Middle Partners group. So she's actually in a group that I'm with.
Okay.
And every one of us have our strengths and our weaknesses, and some, because I like children, and I believe they are our future and all of that. I felt it was so important to get in there and educate them about what their opportunities and what lies in front of them in terms of the choices that they make in terms of their environment. Getting back to the water, so some people love this model. It's available to affiliates. I mean, I purchased mine with grant money, and it's also available for checkout. A lot of the colleges, West Georgia College has got it available if somebody wanted to check out this model and use it. So, and it comes with a kind of a set of directions and a guide for you to use in terms of what direction you want to go with and what age group you want to target. All that being said, some of the affiliates are not as comfortable getting up in front of. So it just depends on which affiliate you're speaking of. In Douglasville, that section, I forget his name, he is the one that actually, when I started, said, you need to consider doing this. If you can reach out to the schools, because they actually set days, his county sets days aside for him to come in and do these classes. And it really does give the teachers a little bit of a break. Once they know that you're not, that you're in line with everything, they're good. I mean, they can, and the kids get excited because it's a new face. It's, it's interactive. They stand up. They don't sit down. They make it rain. It's a model. The river floods. The car turns over. They're like, oh, it's just, it's engaging. Yeah. So it's just fun. So I encourage other affiliates to do it, and certainly it's available to them whether or not they. Use it. Everybody has limited time.
We have the Flint River Aquarium in Albany, and it is a museum quality building, and it has all kinds of displays and educational opportunities mixed in with it, and goes along with the curriculum, and it talks about the river and what it means to us in Albany and all the people along the Flint River, and it has animals from the river, all kinds of it, and it has a special set aside thing for ocean animals, kind of, but we have a lot of alligators and turtles and fish that are natural to the river, and this seems to me to be a nice thing that it would fit in there with that group. Emily G. McAfee's the president of that and sort of the interim executive director. She's president of the board, and they've been undergoing some changes in how they do things, and I think she would be really interested in this. And our Water, Gas, and Light Commission, I think, would be very interested. We have a person set aside to do community activities.
You notice this group is like, they stay in so long they start moving. It's thinning out fast. So what we're going to do, I know you have some other questions. We're going to have lunch. Y'all stick around. There'll be some questions, I'm sure. So it's interesting. They'll have other meetings. So you want to summarize and finish up, Lynn?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for your time today and for coming in to the representatives. Just so you understand, we stayed till almost midnight last night. A lot of us got home about 1. We call this an in-between day, so we're not convening, but we are still active in our session period. So they chose to come here instead of washing their clothes, probably. So sleeping late. So it is. It's a testament to what y'all have done that so many legislators showed up here today, and I think you've just helped start this dialogue, which is what we really want. So we're going to adjourn now, but we have some sandwiches, so we're going to just get our sandwiches, come in here, and all of us are here. I hope it's informal. I hope we just can sit around and talk and ask questions of each other and continue the dialogue.
I'd like to visit the county sometime. I've told Lynn I'd like to come down there and visit Elm Street and visit and have lunch with you and just see some of that. That's my goal pretty soon this spring. I'd like to do that.
Thank y'all. We're adjourned.
Randy, you represent?